I now introduce to you my dear friend and our new president, Charles Kuck.
My favorite songs, Carlina, thank you. It is truly a delight to be here today. I wanted to begin first by thanking the individuals who are most important to me and are the reason why I do what I do. I married about 24 years ago the most beautiful woman in the world, and I am still married to her, and she's the mother of my children. Would you please thank Jenny for me? Can you imagine tolerating me for 24 years? I also brought 4 of my 5 children here today. Jade, Bryce, Jeff, and Rebecca. Would you please thank them for tolerating me as well? Man, they are good-looking kids. You know, every one of us shares something in common. We all have a mom and a dad. And I am fortunate that my mom and dad can be here today. Would you please thank Herman and Dorothy Kuck for me? Hoorah, Mom and Dad. Nobody in AILA succeeds without mentors. A long time ago, when I graduated from law school, I was in Arizona, and I had an opportunity to work with what I later found out to be 3 of the greatest and most brilliant immigration lawyers in AILA. I say this not to inflate their egos, but simply because it is true. I want to thank Roxy Bacon, Nancy Jo Merritt, and Angela Paparelli for teaching me immigration law. Thank you. And I also had an opportunity, through the course of my career, I have changed law firms a couple of times, to work with some terrific people. And 2 of my former partners are here today, and I do want to thank them. And their names may or may not be familiar to you, but they are very, very important to me. Bruce Larson from Georgia and Dale Schwartz, who I'm sure you all know. Terrific, terrific lawyers. Now, I began practicing immigration law in Arizona, so I have to thank my first home in immigration, the Arizona chapter. Go Arizona, go Devils! And of course, through the fortunate phone call of a headhunter, I moved to Georgia. And now I realize that the South is rising again. And it's great to be home. Thank you, Georgia. We have a great chapter. Thank you very much. And every one of these individuals on the stand here with me, this executive committee, have been my friends for many years, my colleagues, individuals that I go to for advice. They are wonderful, wonderful people, and I believe we are well served by their guidance and direction. Kathleen, this last year, I do have to thank her for winning that election against me 5 years ago. Whew, thank goodness it was her turn this year. I'm looking forward to a really interesting year. So I do want to thank all of you as well. AILA, as an organization, I believe, is the greatest bar association in the land. Nothing is better than what we do. I want to talk to you today about things that I believe. These things, to me, are very, very important, and I think they'll be important to many of you. I believe that we are all answerable to a higher authority. I believe that we all have a responsibility to that higher authority. Call it what you will. Call him God or Buddha, whoever you worship. We are answerable for the things that we do in this life. We are answerable for the deeds that we carry out for and with our fellow man. I believe it is vital and essential to our own well-being and our future happiness that we do everything in our power to help other people. I think that is made manifest by each of you sitting here today in the practice that you have chosen as lawyers. In many ways, being an immigration lawyer is like becoming a priest or a pastor. It's really a calling rather than just a job. Some would say it's really an adventure as well. But I believe it's a calling. Think about what we do for people. We literally, on a daily basis, save people's lives. There is nothing more rewarding than walking out of an immigration courtroom having won an asylum case, knowing that you have literally just saved that person's life, the life of their family, and have just literally created the American dream for that individual. There is nothing more powerful that we can do as lawyers than that. And whether it's an asylum case, or another type of deportation case, or a business case, or a family case, what we are doing is reuniting and creating America every single day in our practices. There can be nothing greater than that in the practice of law. I also believe that we have a duty to speak out. We have a duty not to remain silent. There was a Dante quote that was a favorite of President Kennedy's, and it was, "The very hottest circles of hell are reserved for those who in times of crisis remain neutral." Let each of us in this room make a vow today that we will not remain neutral in the fight that is going on in the halls of our Congresses, our state legislatures, and our city councils. We can no longer afford to be silent. Now is the time for us to act. Have you written a letter to the editor recently? Have you talked to someone in your community about immigration? Have you helped spread the word about the need for immigration reform and how enforcement alone is a very, very bad idea? Each of us has that obligation. And I call on each of us as we leave this meeting today, when we leave Vancouver and go back to our practices, that we'll each do something that will make a difference in the public debate on immigration. We have that responsibility, we have that obligation, and we have the tools to make it happen. Rely on AILA to help you with this. Our incredible advocacy and media department are there to serve you. We do remarkable things for our members to enable each of us to make it look like we really know what we're talking about when we talk about immigration law. And the reality is, we do. So I call on us to no longer stand for injustice against immigrants, because injustice against immigrants is injustice against ourselves. It never ceases to amaze me how politicians in Washington, D.C., and those at the local level have forgotten history. The debate that we are currently engaged in today is not one that we have not heard before. This debate began with Benjamin Franklin 220 years ago when he thought there were too many Germans in America. All I can say about that is thank gosh he was wrong.